What's going on, everyone here? The millions of people watching the show. Maybe I should say, how you doing? So Ryan is not here today, but I'm sure he'll be doing a show. I think in about with Ken Boone in about an hour. So I will do this one though on the market update today because every day is important right now. So the thing that we're looking at is we've been looking at this triangle, right? That in the yellow lines on the Dow daily here. And we've known and we've been talking about it that it's been there for over a week now, or I think we started talking about it last Friday. And then there was the double triangle, the Bermuda Double Triangle here. I'm just making up terms in terms of what the Bermuda Double Triangle. But you have this purple one, which was on the 2-hour chart yesterday that we were talking about. And we said that, hey, they're probably going to look to do some head fakes coming out of here. And a head fake is like a fake run or a fake move. And you can see that yesterday they probed over right here on this bar. They probed over the resistance line of the triangle, ran it back down. This morning also could be predictable in that they were going to run it to the lower line right here, the support line. And this candle was taken this morning. If I took an updated candle, you would see they already ran it to the lows, made it look like they were going to fall off a cliff, and then ran it back up. So there's a lot of compression, though, right now in this triangle, which was on the 2-hour one. And they're starting to do the head fakes that, catch people off guard. Because if you're a buyer, you go, oh, we're breaking out. And then the sellers trap you up here. And then if you're a seller, you go, oh, we're breaking out. And you try to jump in down here and you get trapped. Your position gets trapped. And then, now you're a seller and it rips back up, and the market's very efficient in that capacity. But we talked about the fact that, we think this big yellow triangle is really the place to be. The big yellow triangle is going to be, what needs to have a breakout. So I think I was just gauging just by the size of the triangle, 7 to 10 days. I would not be surprised. This morning and yesterday were definitely head fakes because there was just no news to support, potentially the biggest move of the last 100 years that has come out in the last 2 days. So anything that short of that, which sounds crazy, is going to be a head fake. So it is lining up though, where it could make sense that we could see some serious activity from the weekend, going over the weekend to the, some sort of news release, because you have a holiday, which is it's such a common theme where they, like to gap the market on holidays. So you have a holiday, you get a news release, you put that together. We're sitting on Tuesday with, a real scare of some sort or some news. So I would say this weekend is very relevant. Now, I also highlighted on this chart the most important candles of the last 100 years. Now, I know that sounds dramatic, but it's really not that far off from what has to happen here. So if you take the big picture of what's going on, you have COVID, which was this insane move in the market. And then we had that big trend that we were looking at over the last 2 years that's now breaking. And under this red line confirms a bear market. And we haven't had like a real bear market since like maybe 2008 or 2000. But we haven't had a real one that's run on for, years, for a long time. So if we crack under this line, all of the bears, if we crack under this line and close under this line, all of the bears are going to go, yep, we're in a bear market. We break out of this triangle, which is remember, that's a very high compression pattern, meaning it'll come out of here fast and hard. So whichever direction it goes from here, it's going fast and hard. This particular candle, though, we break this, we then form a pivot, right? I think we've talked about this a couple times, but a pivot is from here to here and down, right? So that's a pivot, and that confirms a downtrend. So, the other option though is that from here, which we talked about, we go up and you crack this candle right here, which then takes all the bears that thought the world was ending and says, nope, we're not doing it. So this is really where all the sellers are looking at right here to be a hard seller. And this is where all the buyers are looking at to be right here. I'm obviously being vocal about the markets right now because I believe that we are in a shift, a pretty serious shift. And if you look at the backdrop of all the news that we have and everything going on, it's not like the backdrop is positive. It's not like, well, which way is it going to break? The backdrop is, remember, we had Evergrande hit the scene when this all kind of started. And we have that Goldman Sachs news release. Here, I'll even type these in. I mean, here are the pieces that we're looking at that are, so we had Evergrande, so step one, Evergrande, right? That's letting us know something's here. And the interesting thing about Evergrande coming out as a news release, obviously, was that it's been going on for a year, but they're releasing it in the news at this point for a specific reason, because they want to move the market. Step two, what was step two? Debt ceiling ignored. So in a bull market, that news, there was a little bit of tension around that, and that was really just that was the backside retest of those trend lines that we were looking at. So they ran it up a little bit, but that was the news that, if it was really relevant to the market, would have taken it to new highs, right? Like that was the news that, if this was still in a bull market, that would have been like, nope, we're delaying it till December. This is what the market was waiting on, but that wasn't what the market was waiting on. The market didn't care. So the debt ceiling ignored. Step three, we have these, they're drifting out the supply chain issue. So they're setting all the pieces in motion. So everybody, when it happens, you're not surprised. They're going to try to blame supply chain on COVID. Stupid. But so you have the supply chain issues, and then you had the Goldman news release, 8.2 trillion, something or other in China. So these are, the current pieces in play right now that, that we're all considering or looking at here. And you can mark them on the charts as to where they are. So when you look at that as those four things, you have bear news that really shatters the market and puts 1,000-point days in play, which is fear. And then you have, when there's, bullish news, it's not really a bullish reaction. It pretty much got smashed each time by the sellers. So this is hedging right now towards a bearish scenario, because until these four things right here are significantly resolved, or the market feels comfortable with them being resolved, it will continue to push the market down, right? Like, you can't have these things as open-ended in a bull run. So Evergrande, until we have complete, right now, Evergrande's in the middle of its default, right? Over the next 30 days, it already missed those two payments. So the market's not going to go, oh, well, we don't have to worry about that. We're just going to run this to the new highs. Like, no, we're not. You're not. And then you have the debt ceiling, which nobody cared about. And then you have the supply chain issues that just seem to be leaking out. That's a chess piece being put in play. Goldman drops their news release over the weekend. Again, strategic. I bet this much. Well, when this triangle breaks, you will not be hearing about COVID anymore. You'll be hearing about whatever breaks this triangle. That will be the new thing that you're going to be hearing about for the next several months, maybe even years. So whatever, if you're sick of COVID, you're going to get relief from hearing about it in the news, because it's the new headline that's going to be coming out is going to be significant, and it'll silence that for quite some time. So, something to consider with that is the markets are they are what they are, right? Like, you can be mad at it. You can say, well, they manipulate them. They do this, that. It's like, what? Maybe they do. Not maybe. It is like you can move the markets in a general direction. I don't know that the minute to minute in a market is, you can influence the market minute to minute, but the overall second to second isn't necessarily manipulated. I don't think that's as highly predictable but you can change the sentiment of a market, which is what the big institutions tend to do, right? The big institutions don't really care about a single day in the market. They care about the next 3 months, the next month, the next 5 years, the next 10 years. So when they move the market and they move their pieces in play, it has to be done over a period of time. And honestly, I just think that we see these huge volatile days right now that in essence are, your mom and dad's 401ks being moved around and shifted around. The wealth managers who, do or don't know what the hell they're doing, or moving large sums of money out of fear behind the scenes. The news is going to crack. And then the breakout of this triangle, I have a strong feeling, will be the new headline for the next several months to several years. Until then, as we've been talking about, you're going to see a lot of whipsaw action, and whipsaw action just means no commitment to a side. It means heavy runs at certain lines, which was this bar right here yesterday, that ran like it was going to break out of this triangle, and then it just stopped, and you can see it makes that tail and goes back down. Today appears to also, look like there was a crazy sell-off happening this morning. But if you were watching my stream, you could have placed, but no, in fact, all this here. Wait, let me do this. Not investment advice. Can I do it like that? Orange-ish. Yeah, no, blue. All right, fine. Not investment advice. This is just me seeing the markets for 20 years and being in front of them every day. I've got my more than 10,000 hours clocked on this in these markets. So I just know how to, read price. But in the end, nobody, even the best chartists in the world, can never tell you 100% what's about to happen. The only thing we can say is that something is shifting under our feet, and just be aware of it. So tomorrow we'll come back if there's more news and go from there.